An arbitrary deadline and a politically driven decision by county officials is causing a safety concern at 2 California airports.
And the cause of this concern? The decision to eliminate 100 low-lead avgas sales at Reed Hillview and San Martin airports by the end of the year. The only avgas available will be a 94-octane fuel, and that fuel won't work for a lot of piston engine aircraft.
I am very concerned that this action taken on by some of these airports in California could actually be a real safety risk.
What we're worried about in the Air Safety Institute is 100 low lead is not going to be available at these places where pilots are expecting it, and this change is coming about fairly abruptly. So, and that 94 unleaded doesn't necessarily work in your engine. You have to be really careful about that. It can cause engine problems all the way up to catastrophic engine failure to run fuel in your engine that doesn't have enough octane in it. So, that's one potential issue. And then it all looks the same. So unless you're careful, all the supporting infrastructure, the hose and the tanks and they all, and the nozzle, they all look the same. So pilots are just going to have to be careful not to inadvertently misfuel their airplanes.
The Santa Clara County Airports Division told pilots about the loss of 100 low lead just this week. The only available fuel will be Swift UL 94. And you have to have an STC for your aircraft to use that, and it won't work for aircraft with high compression engines. In fact, about half the aircraft based at San Martin can't use the no-lead fuel.
Essentially what Santa Clara County did was take a report that said there was no problem and declared it a problem. And people hear that part. They hear that there's a problem with it. And I think small airports around, communities at small airports around the country are gonna see that and say, we wanna switch too. It's a little early. They really need to solve the problem with an unleaded 100 octane fuel that everybody can use.
The report looked at blood lead levels in kids near the airports, but while the county said it was a problem, others noted there was no significant difference between kids near airports and kids in general in California. Nevertheless, the county banned 100 low lead.
I've had several meetings with the FAA this week about this issue and asking them to step up. So there is a plan and a commitment among the general aviation groups and led by AOPA in a lot of ways to move away from it, but we want to do it smart, safely, and enough time for the industry to react so they can be done without interruption of fuel availability.
So Alyssa, a pretty complex issue. And as Mark said, we need a smart transition here. We don't need to rush into something, eliminate 100 low lead at these airports where pilots could be flying in and expecting to find 100 low lead and thinking that maybe the 94 UL will be okay, and it might be if they have a low compression engine, but they still need an STC. If you have a high compression engine, you can't use it because, as Richard was suggesting, it can lead to detonation problems and ultimately perhaps to engine failure. So it's a real problem, and basically we just need these airports to slow down. We're making good progress toward a unleaded fuel, and we just need a little more time.
Yeah, and it's, this is something still relatively new to a lot of pilots, need an STC for an alternative fuel. And so they may not be as well versed when they go and they see a different pump or something like that. It takes a big education effort.
Yeah, it really does.